Hey guys, welcome back to No Catch Name. It's me, Ella. Today we're doing a tutorial for the sea and land turtle. The only difference between the two are their feet. As you can see, this one has flippers, this one has regular feet. But anyways, let's hop into it. Let's go over to the crafting table and I'll tell you what supplies you need and then I'll walk you through it. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, let's get started on the turtle. So let's go through the supplies real quick and then we'll hop right into the pattern. I usually use 2 shades of the same color for my turtles, but you're welcome to use any colors you want. Today I'm going to be using Parfait Chunky, which is a size 6, but in my opinion it's kind of a smaller 6 than like other 6s. Anyways, so I'm using 2 different colors today. For the body color I'm going to use blue, just blue, this lighter color. For the shell color I'm using classic blue. Okay, so along with yarn you'll need a hook. For Parfait Chunky, I'm using a 5mm, which is an H hook. But of course, if you're using a bigger yarn, you might want to use a bigger hook. If you're using a smaller yarn, you might want to use a smaller hook. And it also depends on your tension. So you might have to play around with it to get it right, or you know your own personal tension. So I'm using a 5mm. You also need some scissors, a yarn needle, 1 stitch marker. And then you need some eyes. So you can either use safety eyes, felt eyes, or embroider eyes with yarn. I usually embroider eyes, but I will show you where to put the eyes if you want to use safety eyes or felt eyes. And shameless plug, my sister make these and her shop is linked down below. It's made by Hattie Co. If you want to purchase some of these, go purchase them. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, for this turtle, I have 2 types of feet. I have flippers for sea turtle, and I have land feet for land turtle. Is that what they're called? I don't know. So I'm gonna make both the feet first, and then of course, whichever one you want to use, you make 4 of them. So we'll start first with the land foot. So this is like a regular, turtle, tortoise, whatever. For this Chanel yarn that fuzzes, I always do the chain 2 method, but you're welcome to do a magic ring if that's how you prefer it. I like the chain 2 because it doesn't need to be woven in, so I don't have to deal with the yarn splitting and stuff. So we're going to chain 2. And we're going to put 8 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so there's our beginning of our foot. Let me grab my stitch marker over here because I'll be needing him in just a minute. Alright, for round 2 of the land foot, we're going to do single crochet increase all the way around. So we'll start with 1 single crochet. Put my stitch marker in. Alright, we did 1, so now we're going to increase in this next stitch. So it'll be 2, 3. Alright, so the next one we're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we're going to increase in the next one. 1 single crochet. Increase. 1 single crochet. Increase. Alright, so you just 1 single crochet increased all the way around, so you'll have a total of 12 stitches. Now round 3 we're going to single crochet each stitch, so there'll be 12. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, for round 4, which is the last round for the land feet, we're going to do 6 decreases around. So we're going to be taking it from 12 stitches down to 6. So for a decrease, you go in the first stitch, yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops, and then go directly into the next stitch over, yarn over and pull through, you'll have 3 loops, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's taking 2 stitches and making them into 1. Put your stitch marker in. Alright, let's do it again. So you go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Then you go directly into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. You'll have 3 loops. Yarn over and go through all 3. So that's 2. So we're going to do that 4 more times. Kind of stuff that tail in there. To have a total of 6 decreases. So there's 3. 4. 5. And 6. Alright, so that's all the crocheting for the foot, other than we are about to crochet it closed. Right here, you can stuff this if you want. I usually don't. Let me grab this turtle over here. These ones don't have stuffed feet, so they're smooshy. And so you can either stuff them just a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit of volume, or you can just leave them. I think that they're fine not being stuffed. So now at this point, we take the stitch marker out, and we're going to line it up to where our stitch is kind of on the edge here. You see it? And we're going to single crochet 3 across, going through both layers to close it. So just stick it through like that, yarn over and pull through, and single crochet like normal. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so that would be your land foot. Now cut it off, and you don't have to leave a long tail because it'll be hidden inside the turtle's body. If you do want to later, let me grab this turtle again. I leave mine loose. See how it's loose? If you want to tack it to the body to where the feet are like underneath the turtle, you could leave a longer tail here to tack it down. So that's a personal choice. I don't mind it being loose because it could lay, you know. But if you tacked them down, it would be, the feet would be under it. So it's really personal preference. If you forget, if you want to tack it down later and you forget to leave a tail, you can always just attach more yarn. So it's not like a necessity to leave a long tail at the moment. Always just cut it short and hide the tail into the body when I'm making the shell. So anyways, that was 1 foot. So now make 3 more of those. And then I'm going to do the flipper tutorial too, if you want to make a sea turtle. Okay, for the flipper, start with the chain 2 or the magic ring if that's what you prefer. And it's only got 3 rounds, so it's pretty easy. So in the second chain from the hook, single crochet 8. 1, 2, 3, that tail all the way, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So now round 2, we're going to increase in each stitch around. At the end of round 2, you'll have 16 stitches. So let's do the first increase. So you just put 2 stitches in one spot. So it's 1, 2. I'm going to get my stitch marker. Then the next stitch, we're going to put 2. So it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Alright. Round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet increase all the way around. So let's start with a 1 single crochet. Put our stitch marker back. Increase in the next stitch. So then single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. Do that the rest of the way around, and at the end of round 3 you'll have 24 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 3 you have 24 stitches, so let's take our stitch marker out. And at this point, with the yarn tail is the inside, so we would fold our fin over, flip her over, with your working yarn at the top, and we're going to go through both layers and single crochet all the way down. It doesn't really matter how many stitches you do. For me, it's usually 10 or 11 all the way down. Just try to keep them even, you know, because once you're working on the body, you'll only need the first 3 anyways. So what you do is you go through this first single crochet here, and then right over here, it's kind of, the first one's a little bit the hardest because it's kind of tight. So you go through both of them and you do a single crochet. So that was 1, and then it just kind of lines up all the way down. So you go through both layers. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of stop and tuck this tail in there. Now you don't have to stuff these all. I think they're better not stuffed. Where are we at? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Mine normally is 11. So right here we would pull up some and we're going to snip it. Again, it doesn't have to have a long tail, just kind of a little short bit, because it will be hiding in the turtle shell once we attach it. When we attach it, we'll just be using these first 3 stitches up here to attach it to the body. So these ones, as long as it's even, it doesn't really matter how many there are, because these are the only important ones up here. So now that's 1 flipper. Now we need to make 3 more, and then we'll start on the head. There are the 4 flippers. So now that you got those done, just set them aside. We'll deal with them later. Now we're going to work on the head. For the head, we're going to start with a chain 2. And we're going to do 8 single crochet in the second chain. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, round 2, we're going to be increasing all the way around for a total of 16 stitches. So, do our first increase. Put your stitch marker in, the first stitch you made. So that's 2. So an increase would be 3, 4, increase, 5, 6, increase, 7, 8, increase, 9, 10, increase, 11, 12, increase, 13, 14, increase, 15, 16. Alright, so you have 16 stitches. Now on to round 3, we're going to be single crochet increasing all the way around, and at the end of it you'll have 24. So start with 1, put our stitch marker back, then in the next stitch we're going to increase, and then the next stitch we're going to do 1, and the next stitch we're going to increase, 1, increase. We're going to do that the rest of the way around for a total of 24 stitches. Okay, so now we have 24 stitches all the way around. For rows 4 and 5, we're going to be single crocheting all the way around. So there's 2 rows of just solid single crochet. So rounds 4 will have 24 stitches, rounds 5 will have 24 stitches. So you just solidly single crochet all the way around. Remember to use a stitch marker, it's important. So just single crochet all the way around there. And I'll meet you right back here at the beginning of round 6. Okay, so we just completed rounds 4 and 5 of solidly single crocheting. So it looks like a little bow. Now for round 6, we're going to be doing some decreasing to shape it. So first we're going to start with 8 single crochet. let's do our first one. Put our stitch marker back. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now we're going to do 4 decreases. So we'll start with a 1, go in the first stitch, yarn over and pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, go through all 3. So that was a 1. So let's do 2, 3, and 1 more, 4. Now you should have 8 stitches left. Work 1 single crochet in each of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now round 7, we're going to single crochet 6. So here's 1. Oh, I'm sorry. At the end of round 6, you should have 20 stitches. Now round 7, single crochet 6. So there's our first one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to do 4 decreases again. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to single crochet 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the end of round 7, you'll have 16 stitches. Okay, round 8, we're going to decrease 8 times all the way around, going from 16 stitches down to 8. So we'll start off with our first decrease here. Put our stitch marker back. And then we're going to do 7 more decreases around. So that was 1, 8 total. So here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the end of round 8, we're going to stop right there. I'm going to pull my yarn up just a smidge. And this is where we're going to do safety eyes if you're doing safety eyes. Okay, so this is the front of the face. You can tell by the shaping of the nose. So if you want to use safety eyes, let me grab some out over here. This is where you would put them in. Alright, so up here is round 1. 2, 3, 4. If I was doing safety eyes, I would put them between rows 4 and 5. So like right here, let me just stick one right there. I'm not gonna put it in yet. And then approximately 11 stitches around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Stick that other one. And then the best way to look is look at it from an upward view. You can see how they're kind of they're even. It would be easier if you stuffed it a little. But, you know, you try to just find where you would want to put your safety eyes. I would suggest between rounds 4 and 5, starting from the top. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in between 4 and 5, about 10 or 11 stitches apart. You can even kind of fold it in half to, you know, see the length here and here. If you don't like it, you can swoosh it over one. Just fiddle around with it until you get it to where you want it. If you want to, you could even stuff the head a little bit so you can see how the final shape is going to be. I think that's good. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so that is 11 stitches apart. So between rows 4 and 5, about 11 stitches apart. These eyes right here are 12 millimeter, so you can go bigger or smaller. I typically embroider my eyes now, so I'll be doing that later. But also if you wanted to use felt eyes, that would also be later. I would try to glue them kind of in the same spot. Right here's 4 and 5, so kind of right there. These are oval ones, and then also if you were using round ones. It's easier for me to put these kinds of eyes on after the head's stuffed. And of course embroidering is better when the head is stuffed. But okay, so let's finish up the head real quick and then we'll go on. We just did round 8, so you have 8 stitches. So now we're going to do 3 rounds, 9, 10, and 11 of solid single crocheting around. And I would also suggest to stuff the head at this point right here at round 8. So let's get the head stuffed and then finish up the crocheting. Alright, I stuffed the head, so that's the shape of it a little bit better. If I was using safety eyes, I'd probably stuff it like this and then work on placing the eyes, just because it's, you know, it's the shape it's going to be. But now we're going to do rounds 9, 10, and 11, which is just 8 single crochet around. This is creating the neck. So let's do 1, put our stitch marker in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so now do 2 more rounds like that for a total of 3 rounds of 8, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so here's how it's looking. After round 11, I did put a little bit more stuffing into the head up here, not the neck, because the neck will be closed and sewed onto the turtle body. Let me get my other one here to show you. See, it's crocheted down here, and then you kind of sew it right here. What's it called? What word am I looking for? Tack, tack it onto the shell. So it doesn't need stuffing because it's going to be tacked down. So to close up the head, you just finished round 11. You have 8 stitches. We're going to hold it together like we did the fin, and we're going to single crochet it closed. There should be 4 single crochets across. So you start here on the edge. The first one's always the hardest because it's right where your yarn is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now for this part, for this head, you are going to leave kind of a long tail. This is so you can use this yarn to tack the head to the shell when it gets to that part. So I do kind of leave a longish tail. It's about a foot long. It's about a little over 12 inches. So just knot that off. And then your head is done, and we're going to set it aside until we need it after we get the shell going. So now we're going to open up our second ball here, our shell color, and start working from it. Now with your shell color, you'll be using the shell color for the first 10 rounds of the body, and then you'll switch back to the body color. So let's do the shell. So I'll start with a chain 2 with 8 single crochets in it. There's 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, that's round 1. So round 2, we're going to increase all the way around in each stitch. So at the end of round 2, you'll have 16 stitches. Start here, 1 and 2. Put your stitch marker in the first stitch you made there. So that's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase all the way around. Let's do 1. Now the next stitch we're going to increase by adding 2, 1, 2, and then do 1. And the next stitch we're going to increase, 1, 2. We're going to repeat that all the way around, and at the end of round 3 you'll have 24 stitches. Okay, we just did round 3, so we have 24 stitches. Now on to round 4, we're going to single crochet 2, increase. So there's 1, put our stitch marker in. 2. Now in this third stitch we're going to increase. And then the next 2 stitches we're going to do 1 each, so 1, 2. In the third stitch we're going to increase. 1, 2. In the third stitch we're going to increase. We're going to continue that all the way around. At the end of round 4 you'll have 32 stitches. Alright, we just finished round 4, so we have 32 stitches. Now on to round 5, we're going to single crochet 3 and increase in the 4th one. So let's do our first one and add our stitch marker. So that was 1, 2, 3. In the 4th stitch we're going to increase. And then we're going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. In the 4th stitch, increase. We're going to repeat that all the way around, and at the end of round 5 you'll have 40 stitches. Okay, we just finished round 5, so we have 40 stitches. Now round 6 is the last increased round. We're going to be single crocheting 4 and then increasing in the 5th stitch. So let's start with 1 and place our stitch marker. And then 2, 3, 4. So now in the 5th stitch we're going to increase. Okay, then we're going to do 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th stitch we're going to increase. Now we're going to continue that all the way around, single crocheting 4, increase. To the end of 6 we'll have 48 stitches. Alright, we just finished round 6. That was the last increase round, and we're up to 48 stitches all the way around. So now for rounds 7, 8, and 9, it's 3 rounds. We're going to do solid single crochet all the way around. So just do 3 rounds of solid single crochet, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, we just finished round 9. So we did 3 rounds of solid single crochet. So now we're going to do the last round in the shell color. It's round 10. And for this round we're going to be working in the front loops only. So let's look up here real quick at the top of the stitches. This right here is the front loop, the one facing you. And right here is the back loop. So we're going to be working only in this front loop, because on the round 11 we're going to be working in the back loop. So for this round we're going to be working in the front loops only, all the way around. So let's start in this first one. We'll go in the front loop only and single crochet. This is going to kind of create a ridge effect around the shell. And then normally I would put my stitch marker here, but since we're not going to be working in these ones, I'm going to fold my crochet over, pull up a little slack. We just worked into the front loop only, so right here is our back loop. I'm going to catch our back loop and mark it. That way I know where my beginning of my round is when I attach my body color when we get done. Alright, so we just did 1. Whoops. So now we're going to go around working in the front loops only, all the way around, 48 stitches. There'll be 48 at the end. So just go into the front loops only and single crochet like normal. And I'll meet you around at your stitch marker. I would suggest actually counting this round, because right here at the end it can kind of get confusing which stitch you already worked into. So I would actually count these out as you go. Alright, I just did 48 in the front loop only, so I'm back to my first one. And right here I'm just going to go into my first stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to join, and then I'm going to cut off my shell yarn. I would suggest leaving a little tail here, because you might need it to sew up a little hole that could be created here in a minute. So it's handy to have that to sew that closed. So I am just going to leave just like a 5-inch tail that I can close up that hole with if I need to in a little bit. Alright, so we're done with the shell color, the top of the shell color. So now we're going back to body color. So now I'm going to reattach my body color to my hook, and we're going to be working in this first back loop here with the stitch marker, but we need the head. So let's get the head. Alright, so this is the front of the head. You can tell by the way it sticks out and decreases. Also, if you use safety eyes, they would be, you know, here. So the back of the head is more round, the front kind of tapers off. So this is the part of the head that we want facing out. So we're going to hold the body down like this, so the face is pointing up towards you. We're going to hold it down here with the back loops. This first part's a little finicky until you do it a few times, then you get used to it. So you're going to go into this first stitch we made on the head, closing it. There's 4. We're going to go into that back loop. After I get my back loop, I drop my stitch marker. And we're just going to single crochet them together. So go through and do just regular single crochet. So that was 1. So now we're going to go into the turtle head again, the second one. And we're going to go through the second back loop here. 2. The third one into the third one. 3. And then lastly the fourth one into the fourth back loop. 4. Alright, so your head is attached. It's going to be real floppy until the end. So even though we know this is our first stitch, I still use my stitch marker. It's just a good habit to get into when you're making amigurumi. This little tail right here can be just kind of placed in the body. The long one you want on the outside, because that's going to be the tail that we use to tie the head to the body. And this is the shell color tail that we're going to save in case there's a hole. Sometimes there's a hole between this first stitch and the last stitch. We'll use that to close that up. Alright, so we just did 4 single crochets. So now we're going to single crochet 4 just in these back loops. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to attach the first foot. Now whether you're using a flipper or the land foot, they're attached the exact same way through the 3 loops. So there's going to be the next 3 back loops we're using it, and for this turtle I'm making today I'm using the flippers. But if you have the land foot, it's the same way. You hold it, the foot towards you. The flipper needs to actually be this facing this way, because when the flipper folds down, this circle part needs to be facing back, because that's the shape of them in real life. So with this tail just kind of forward, and we're going to be working into these 3 stitches on the flipper. It doesn't really matter if this is inside or outside, because you can pull it through later. But so we're going to be going through the flipper's first stitch, and then through the next back loop only stitch right here, and we're going to single crochet it. So that's 1. Then we're going to go into the second one. That's 2, and then we're going to go into the third one. So now that flipper is attached by 3 single crochets. Now we're going to do 7 single crochets after this flipper. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so now we're going to attach the second flipper. So let's grab the flipper. Again, if you're using the land feet, it's the same way. You would just hold the foot with the foot on the outside of the shell, and you would single crochet through the foot and then through the shell, the same exact way as the flippers. So go through the first flipper, single crochet, and into the next back loop only. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so we got the first 2 flippers. Again, make sure that the rounded part of the flipper is facing towards the turtle's tail end, because in real life that's the way that they're shaped. Alright, so now between the second flipper and the third flipper, there's going to be 10 single crochets, and we will come back and add a tail at the end. So we're going to do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so now we're going to do the other two flippers. This time the flippers will be facing that way because we're going up the other side of the turtle. So these two flippers we put on the other way, but it's because it was facing this direction. So now we're going to be grabbing the third flipper. So this time, instead of going in the first one up here, we're going to be going into the third one. So go into the third single crochet down and into the next back loop only. So that's 1. Just tail them away. 2, and then the last one, 3. Then we're just going to put that tail in the body. And now we're going to do 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, now we're going to get our last flipper. And again, we're going to be facing his, the round part down. And we're going to go into the 1, 2, 3rd single crochet. Go through it first and then the next back loop. So that's 1. 2, 3. Alright, we're almost, this is like the most challenging round I think, and we're almost done with it. So now for the rest of the body we're going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, so we're back to the beginning. So now the rest of this turtle is pretty easy. So first let's go ahead and do our first single crochet just to kind of close this hole up here. And then I'm going to talk to you for a second. So go into your first stitch and just single crochet. This will be the first stitch of your next round. But I'm just doing this now to kind of close the turtle up. So put your stitch marker back in there. Pull it up a little bit. Alright. So there's our turtle's legs. The flippers are all facing towards the tail, the rounded parts. If you did the little round feet, they'd look something like this. This one's stuffed, of course. But they're just kind of hanging off the end there. I think they're cute. Okay, so, and right here is where that hole might be created. See, there's like a hole right there. That's what this tail is for. We'll use that towards the end to just kind of sew that hole up. And this long tail is for sewing the head up like this. But we'll do all that once we get it done crocheted and stuffed. So now we're going to start decrease rounds. We have all these loose tails in here. You could, if you want to, you could tie them off. Or you could weave them in, whatever. I typically just leave them because they're all knotted off already. They're not going to come unraveled, and they're going to be in here with this stuffing. So now let's start the decrease rounds. So we're going to decrease the same way that we increased, only in reverse. So our first decrease round is single crochet 4 decrease. We already did our first single crochet right there. This is round 12, by the way, and at the end of round 12 you will have 40 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do our decrease. And then we're going to do 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease. Oops. Alright, so we're going to repeat that all the way around the turtle. 4, decrease, 4, decrease, all the way around, and at the end of it you'll have 40 stitches. Alright, we just completed round 12, which is our first decrease round. We were going 4 decrease, and now we have 40 stitches. So now round 13, we're going to be doing 3 decrease and at the end of that we'll have 32 stitches. So let's do our first one. Add our stitch marker back. So that was 1, so here's 2, 3, and we're going to decrease. Then we're going to do 3, so 1, 2, 3, and we're going to decrease. Then we're going to do 3, so 1, whoops, I went in the wrong spot, 2, 3, and we're going to do decrease. So we're going to continue that around, single crocheting 3 and decreasing to the end, and you'll have 32 stitches. Alright, it's closing up. We just finished round 13, which was single crochet 3, decrease, and now we have 32 stitches. So for round 14, we're going to be single crocheting 2 and decreasing. So let's do 1. Put our stitch marker. Here's 2, so now we're going to decrease. Now we're going to do single crochet 2, so 1, 2, decrease, single crochet 2, decrease. We're going to continue that around, single crocheting 2 and decreasing all the way to the end, and we're going to have 24 stitches. Okay, we just finished round 14. We have 24 stitches, and now we're going to start stuffing. So stuffing is called stuffing for a reason. You got to stuff it in there. It kind of takes a good amount. So how I do it is first I just take a glob and stuff it in there. Try not to push my working yarn in there. And I start pulling it from the middle to the sides. And then you keep refilling the middle and doing that. So there's some. We'll also stuff as we go. We'll close it up a little bit more and stuff some more. But you want to create kind of a dense packing of it. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to go ahead and do another round here, and then do some more stuffing. And I would suggest you do that too, just to help you get the right amount of stuffing in there. All right, so now we're going on to round 15. So we're going to single crochet 1 and decrease. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So let's do the first one. I always try to use my finger to push the stuffing down, because if you don't, you'll pull it through, and it's kind of sometimes hard to get back in there. It gets like intertwined with the yarn, and it's annoying. So let's do first our 1 single crochet, and then we're going to decrease. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to decrease. We're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 single crochet, decrease, and at the end of round 15 you'll have 16 stitches. Okay, we just finished round 15 and we have 16 stitches, which I think is funny, 15 and 16. So now I'm going to add some more stuffing. I'm getting it everywhere, you can't see. I'm dropping it all over my floor. So again, just stuff it in the middle and then try kind of like push it out to the edges without sucking this in. I've done that before and it's kind of a pain in the butt having to fix it. Alright, sometimes I will turn the turtle over and see how, because you might want the shell poking up a little bit more. You kind of have to use a lot. I know when I first started I didn't use much, and after, it would look nice, and then after my kids played with it or it got moved around, it was just kind of flatten out. So you kind of use a lot. It's called stuffing because you got to stuff it in there. Alright, I think that's pretty good for right at this moment. Alright, we're going to do one more decrease round. Round 16, we're decreasing all the way around. So there'll be 8 decreases, and at the end of it, you'll have 8 stitches. So let me get my yarn. So we're going to start right off with a decrease. Put your stitch marker in. Whoops. This is usually where I struggle the most, is the last decrease round. So there's 2, We're going to decrease all the way around and we'll have 8 stitches left. We're almost done. Okay, at the end of round 16, where you're done crocheting the body, we still got to do the tail here in a minute. So at this last bit, leave kind of a decent tail, especially if you're using a chenille type yarn, because they want to break easy. And finish it off. If you feel like you need some more stuffing in there, now would be the time to do it. I think mine's good. So we're going to close up this hole here. So take your yarn tail and your yarn needle, put it on there. Alright, when you're using a chenille yarn, you got to be real careful because they are very fragile, I guess is the right word, sensitive. So I always kind of go into my stitches the front loop only, and as you are pulling it around, don't wait till the end to pull it tight like you could do with worsted weight yarn, because this yarn is not strong enough for that. I pull it tight after each stitch, not too tight, because if you pull it too tight it'll snap and then it's a hassle. So I try to keep tension with my other hand while I'm sewing it through the other one, just to try to help close the hole up without tearing my yarn. I love using this kind of yarn, but I hate how fragile it is. So we'll just close up all the stitches here, and then at the end I like to just kind of go back and forth through it just a little bit like that, and then we're going to kind of just poke it and bring it out over here and leave it. We're going to use that to tie off this yarn here in a minute. So now we're going to, if you have a hole right here that you want to close up, use the shell color to do that. Sometimes mine gets created, sometimes it doesn't. It matters about tension and stuff. So there's a little bit of a hole here, so I just kind of go through the light blue and the dark blue a couple times, just try to close that little hole up. And then I'm going to take this yarn and bring it out the same stitch here where this light blue one is, because we're going to use these yarns to help hide each other. So I've got both of those through that one stitch. We're going to leave them there for now. Now we're going to stitch the turtle's head to its shell. So we're going to take this long tail that we left and put it on our needle. And then we're going to turn our turtle over. And the head is just flopping there. So we want to put it up here to where it's, you know, staying upright. So all I do to do that is I take my yarn tail, see if I can get a good angle here, and I go through the light blue into the dark blue and back out and pull it. And then I'm coming out the dark blue, so I'm going to go back into the light blue and grab some of it, pull it. And we're just kind of sewing, I guess, them together. So now we're in the light blue. We're going to go into the dark blue and pull it just until your head is about where you want it stitched at. I'm about to lose my tail. Pull that out a little bit. So now I'm in the dark, so I'm going to go up through the light blue, grab some more of it. You're going to be kind of pulling it tight as you go. So I'm going to go from the head now into the body, stitch it again. We're just tacking the head in place so that it's not flopping around. Oop, I'm stuck on a flipper. Are those called flippers? I don't know. I always call them flippers. It's kind of hard to do this at a good angle. So you just, like I said, we're just tacking the head down to where it will stay up. You can mess with it to get it the way you want it. If you did safety eyes, your eyes would be like right here. So now when we're done and we're happy with how it is, we're going to stick it back into the body and come back out over here where these other two yarns are at. Pull it. Now we're going to knot these yarns together a few times. And then we're going to trim them to a manageable length. All these little fuzzes. Now I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go through the turtle's body somewhere to the stitch where these yarns are all at. I'm going to put the yarns over into get them on the hook and pull them through the body. And I kind of move my hook around so that the yarns will come off of my hook and they're in the body now. And if any fuzz or anything comes out, you just shove it back in there with your hook. Alright, so now at this point, his body is done except his tail. So there he is so far. So now we're going to do the tail. Use the body yarn. So let's attach it to our hook. And now the head is here. So like down here is where the tail will be, in between the two back flippers, or feet if you use the other feet. This is hard to get this at a good angle. So there was 10 stitches in between here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I usually go in the middle there. You can just, I use the head as a guide. Can you see the head down there? And so I'm going to attach my yarn just right into the body. You just stick it through and go through the stitch right there. This might be a little difficult if you've not done it before. Hold on, my working tail is on the wrong side. Whoops, I hit the camera. Okay. So I'll stick it into the body and I'm just going to yarn over and pull through and try to make a slip stitch. I struggled a little. So we're slip stitching onto the body. Alright, so now our yarn is attached to his body. So now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. In the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to try to. This turtle's not cooperating with me. Okay, so there's our single crochet. And then the next chain right here, we're going to do a half double crochet. So we're going to yarn over first, go into the chain. It's a little hard to do this and record it at the same time. Okay, and then we're going to yarn over again and pull through. You'll have 3 loops. Yarn over and go through all 3 of them. Alright, that's the tail. So now we're going to go in this next stitch right here and slip stitch again. Pull it up a little bit and trim it. Alright, and now we're going to do with the tails of the tail the same way we did with the body. So I'm just going to go through any of these areas to this side of the tail and get this one. Pull it through. Go through that same stitch and go to the other side and pull through the other tail. Whoops, yeah, I got some stuff in. That's okay. We'll deal with that. And then we're going to knot these together a couple times. We're going to trim it down to a shorter length. And then we're going to go through another part of the body over here to where this is coming out. We're going to catch them with the hook and pull them back through the body. Fuzz. And right here I'm just going to use my hook to kind of poke that stuff back in there. Alright, so there's his little tail. The turtle at this point is all the way done if you use safety eyes. Let's move this stuff. So now we're going to do the embroidered eyes if you want to do that. Also, if you have felt eyes, you could, now would be the time to glue them on. See how cute that would be with felt eyes. I would just hug, you know, I would lay them out like that and then glue them on when you got the right positioning. But I like to do embroidered eyes lately, so I'm going to embroider the eyes on and show you guys how I do it. And then also a little mouth. I usually do the mouth in worsted weight if I do the mouth, but they also look cute without the mouth. So let's get the stuff ready to do the eyes. Okay, for the eyes I have just some black yarn and some white yarn. I do pretty simple eyes on my amigurumis. So I'm going to also kind of go in the same place where I talked about putting the safety eyes or the felt eyes. So if you count up here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably in between the 4th and 5th rounds. So I just have some black yarn on my needle. Also, I have a tutorial I'll link down below if you want to watch a tutorial just for the eyes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from down here first, and I'm going to go up to about the 5th row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that good? I think that's a little. I'll go in right here. That way I have this end down here that I can use to tie off. Then I'm just going to go up to the top of the 4th round and connect them. And then right here, I'm going to just keep going in and out, using my finger to guide which side it goes on to build up the eye. So like now I'm going to wrap it on this right side of it. Just kind of use your finger to push it where you want it. Then I'm going to go to the left over here. All these fuzzes you can deal with later. Just to build up the eye a little bit, I'm going to go back to the left. And then I'll probably go kind of in the middle. Back on the right side. Just do that a few times. I think that's pretty good. So now I'm going to bring my needle back out where this yarn is from so that I can tie it off in a little bit. So that's the black part of my eye. Now I got some white yarn here. Gonna attach it and do pretty much the same thing. Gonna start at the top, go up to the top of your eye. We're gonna go around the back like this. And lately I've been doing that twice. I just feel like sometimes it needs to go through twice. Go back around. And then this time we're gonna come back out down here. Use your finger to guide the yarn where you want it to go. Alright, so there's one eye. So now I'm going to tie off these ends real quick, and then I'm going to do the second eye. First I like to kind of trim them to a manageable length. And I'm going to tie some knots here. I'm going to do white with black. Just tie them up a little bit. All these fuzzes we'll deal with later. Take a crochet hook, go into the body somewhere. You can come up through the neck. Grab hold of them and pull them through. Sometimes they don't. Is that fuzzes? Yeah. So you just poke them in there. And where the stuffing came out, poke a little that back in there. Alright. So there's one eye. Now we're going to try to do the second eye. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it in the exact opposite spot. But we will try. Get my other piece of black here. Alright. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think about right there is good. So I'm going to go in right here to about right here. Whoops, I'm wrapped around the fin again. That fin keeps getting me. Okay, let's see here. I think that's good. So we're going to do the same thing where we build up the eye. And of course these are embroidered on, so if you finish it and it looks weird, you can just cut it and start over. I've had to do that plenty of times, and I'm sure I'll still have to do it plenty more. It's a skill just like anything, so the more you do it, the better you will get at it, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be perfect. So we're just building up the black of the eye. I almost can never make two look the same, but they still turn out cute. So, and I've noticed from my markets, a lot of people prefer the embroidered eyes more over the plastic eyes because of safety reasons. And I don't blame them. You know, I have kids too. All right. I think that's good. I'm going to attach the white again. Go up to the top. Okay. Let's tie these off and get them hidden. Oops. Sometimes I don't get them all in the same try, and that's okay. Just go back and try again. I'm wrapped around one of them. I'm struggling today. Okay, there we go. Alright, he's got fuzzes all over him. Just pick the fuzzes off. I'm a little not happy with how that looks right there. There's like a, you can see the black. I'm gonna try to pull that into his head a little bit. That looks much better. Alright, let me zoom out a little bit. Look at all these fuzzes. Alright, there he is. There is the sea turtle, and right here is the land turtle. I did safety eyes on this one to show you. They're not actually in there. They're just stuck in there. I'll embroider eyes on that one later. But there they are. So these are made with Parfait Chunky, both of them, and 5mm hooks. This is the difference between them, is their feet. And like I did say with this one, you can, if you wanted to, tack the feet down so that they stay underneath the turtle, which would be cute. I think that would be cute. But it's not something you have to do. I think it's fine with them just flopping around too. But there they are. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. If you make them, please show them to me. I would love to see them. You can tag me on Instagram or on the Facebook group or here on YouTube. I'm going to do some shameless plugs real quick. These cute felt eyes are made by my sister. If you're interested in these, you can check out her Etsy shop. It's always linked below. It is made by Hattie Co. And also the stitch marker I was using today was made by my yarny friend Elizabeth. I'll link her Etsy shop below too. She sells these stitch markers and also project bags. So if you want to check both of them out, go ahead and go do it. That's cool. And I guess that's it. I'm going to go ahead and hop off here, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye guys.